Good afternoon, boys and girls. I wanted to say thank you to everyone that turned in their materials, their research, and their citations. You all did a great job. I sent home some Post-it notes with some things to change or add, but overall, I am just so proud of you. I wanted to say I am one who never videotapes myself, so I'm really stepping out of the box by doing this, and I appreciate you guys all watching it, and I hope that in some way, some form, that they're helping you. I wanted to talk a little bit about variables and your materials list, as those are the two new things that are going to be due at the end of the week. I'm going to show you some good examples of some things that we did in class and then answer any questions that I've gotten through text or email. Okay, I wanted just to show some great things that I got today. I kept some notebooks. I had some research that I can tell was handwritten, which was great. But remember, you can type it out to help speed up the process a little bit. This student went through and actually separated and has different thoughts on each thing. It doesn't have to be this long, but I thought that this was a great one to point out. This is Chrisette's, and she did an excellent job. I actually did add, too, a tab down here for her citations. So if someone were going through this notebook, they would know that she had citations. So you can just add those at the end. Remember, you can just put the website, or if you're reading from a book, you can put what book you got it from. Some feedback I gave, a lot of us, this one right here, let me find it. This is a great one that is keeping up with journal entries. Remember, this is probably one of the most important parts of your STEM Fair project. You want to make sure that you are adding dates and you're telling me what's happening. It could be a short little sentence, it could be a bullet point, but you are taking notes of what you're doing each day, or of this journey, if you will. So even if you're skipping a couple days, I will say, don't let them know that I told you this, but if you have forgotten to do this, go back and fib your way through some dates. I know we've done a lot in class and you're doing a lot at home. Go and fib the dates, but just write parts of the process that you're doing. This person, I created my materials list, and we're at 10-1. We're not even there yet, but that's okay. She knows what's coming up. And then going all the way back. So this one, really good job. This is Adeline's. Very good job with your journal. Keep it up. And then I had this one. This student I gave some feedback to about the journal, doing very nice description of what's going on each day, but then it's keeping her from continuing to go on. So one thing I said was just shorten your entries, but add more days. So she could probably split some of these. I went online and I looked for some research. That could be the 26th. Then I'm sure the next day, maybe she went to the library. That could be another day. I went home, printed. Now I'm sitting down to write or highlight some information. Make all of those into separate entries and spread them out, because I don't think you would have done all of this in one day. So you have plenty of paper here, and like I said, don't tell them that I told you, but you can kind of fib your way and go back through it. Okay, the next part that's coming up is your variables, and these are pretty confusing, so I wanted to talk a little bit about them. There are 3 types that you're going to write. There is your independent variable, there's your dependent variable, and there are your controlled variables. And I kind of wrote a little bit about what each one is. Your independent variable is what you decided to change. So in our case, for the Skittle dissolving the rainbow, we're changing the kind of liquid that the Skittle dissolves in. We decided what liquids and what we are going to use. You can only change one thing. So for somebody who's doing plants and they're going to switch the type of soil that it's being planted in, but all of those plants need to be planted in the same spot, because if we change the locations and the soil, that's too many independent variables. There's too much to change there. For someone who's melting candles, if you are changing the color of the candle, you've got to change the color. You can't also change what it's made out of, either wax or beeswax or paraffin. It's got to be one or the other to track your data. And dependent variable is what you observe or measure. So once again, back to our Skittles, we're measuring how long it takes a Skittle to dissolve in each of the different liquids. The kids will tell you, I've been making a little mess up, so I had to go back and kind of clean something up, and I'll go over that in the video as well. So if you're measuring how big the bubble is, then you're using what type of measurement. So what are you going to measure? The size. If you're measuring the basketball, how high the ball bounces, the amount of air would be your independent variable. Liquids dissolving Oreos, yummy. That your dependent would be how long it takes for the Oreo to dissolve. And let's see here, we had some good ones. We have about drinks in your teeth. So what the color or staining of the teeth. Your controlled variables are the things you keep the same, and this can be more than one. So throughout our whole experience, I've used the same cups, the same amount of liquid, I actually should write probably 3 tablespoons of each liquid. The brands of the liquid, I use the same milk every day, well, same container of milk, the same other milk grossed out our classroom and made it smell, but I use the same root beer. I didn't let somebody bring in milk and another person bring in milk and them be 2 different brands. I've also gone out of the same bag of Skittles and used the same color. I'm not choosing a blueberry one or one of the smoothie ones. So some of the things you're keeping the same. So when we're talking about Legos, you would keep those, you're using the same Legos in each of your trials. Tic Tacs, what are you doing? The same is probably going to be a lot like mine. It's the cups and it's the amount of water that you're using to dissolve each one. If you are doing the maze with the bean plant, your controlled variables are probably going to be the location in which you keep those to grow through the maze. I'm pretty sure that's what yours is, Ethan. Kareem, yours would probably be the containers and the liquid again. Finn, what are you keeping the same would be the amount of time that you're chewing the bubble gum and how often you're trying to blow the bubble. So there's a couple things and examples from our class list that I'm hoping will help you a little bit. The other thing that's due is your materials, and I tell the kids, be specific, and this is a hard word for them to say, so I always get a kick out of it. Be specific, so what brand are you using and how much? So I bought Great Value. This is a lot of Walmart brands, Great Value. The white milk was called Buffy's Cool Cow because I borrowed from the cafeteria. The Cool Stuff, Mr. J apple juice, once again from the cafeteria. Measuring spoon, I'm using clear containers. I'm using a pack of Skittles, and instead of writing regular brand, I actually wrote, they're called original brand, so I went back and changed that. Paper and pencil and a timer. So what you're using, as long as you're being specific. So a couple of you today just go add the specifics, and that is all you need to do. Overall, you guys have been doing a fantastic job. Let me turn it back to me. You've been doing a fantastic job. I couldn't be more proud. If you haven't turned something in, go ahead and turn it in. I promise no, you won't get in trouble, any of those things. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or have your student conference with me in the morning. I've enjoyed getting to talk about their project, and I can't wait to see what the outcomes of them will be. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful evening.